Vuna Bharath. Welcome to Fulfilling the Promise, as we take you on a journey along the path of performance, delivery and accomplishment, as we highlight the achievements of government in the 2 years of service since May 24, 2010. In this program, we take a look at the opening of the Accreditation Council in South Trinidad, the Caledonia Community Center, and the opening of the Pre-Sal Interchange. But first, the implementation of PDF textbooks in the nation's schools.
Our way forward in terms of the
students will soon be privy to online copies of their textbooks. The move is said to be part of the Education Ministry's drive towards going electronic. Education Minister Dr. Tim Gopi Singh made the announcement, saying that talks were ongoing with publishers across the globe towards providing textbooks online.
At the moment, we are working with the publishers of most of the textbooks for the secondary schools. We have ascertained that at least 4 of the textbooks so far in different subject areas can be obtained on the e-aspect of it. And we are going to be working with the publishers to see whether we can be provided with those books on the eConnect aspect of it.
The minister added that the initiative was being patterned after models implemented in Singapore.
We are also working with the Commonwealth of Learning, which spreads across 52 countries, Commonwealth countries. Which seek to gather information from in education across the 52 countries and bringing this to the forefront for all of us to benefit from. IDA Singapore also has 1 or 2 editions that we are working to get as well from them.
It is also expected that students will have the opportunity to be interactive on whiteboards provided online.
I know mathematics in the secondary school. Mathematics, Singapore has a mathematics textbook by Marshall Cavendish, which I saw for myself when I went to Singapore about 6 months ago. And they were using this online aspect of it with interactive whiteboards between the teachers and the students in the class. So that is one for sure. And so we're going to be approaching these publishers for these versions. But of course, goes hand in hand with that, we will also have to provide the interactive whiteboards for the secondary schools as well.
Minister Gopi Singh says the move towards a more technologically advanced system will assist students as well as academics conducting research.
Over 100 Cuban medical personnel are expected to join the local health sector in an attempt to fill the shortage of nurses and doctors in Trinidad and Tobago. Prime Minister the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar made the announcement as she opened new boarding facilities at the San Fernando General Hospital. She noted the approval by Cabinet was a short-term solution to fill the severe shortage of medical personnel at the nation's hospitals.
For the short term, I am very pleased to announce the Cabinet recently approved the hiring of 78 Cuban health professionals, 56 nurses and 14 doctors on 2-year contracts. These professionals will arrive, I'm advised, in Trinidad and Tobago later this month and will assist in our plans to strengthen the human resource capacity at our health institutions.
The Prime Minister underscored the need for ramped-up training of medical staff locally, as there is a great shortage of nursing staff in Trinidad and Tobago.
At this time, there are about 2,900 vacancies with respect to nurses. What this means is that the nurses who are functioning are doing so at tremendous sacrifice, because it means that they're carrying a system in which 2,900 persons are missing. And therefore what we need to do is aggressive training. We do aggressive training in other sectors. Let me speak about training for nurses at this point in time. Recognizing several things. That we have planned to build, you have heard me say and I repeat, my legacy will not be in tall mega buildings, mega projects. I would like the legacy of my administration to be in hospitals and in schools. And so with that in mind, I promised that we will build 5 new hospitals over the period.
She also took the opportunity to outline plans whereby government would provide more scholarships and incentives for students entering the field.
Minister of Public Administration, which offers the scholarships, let us offer the scholarships and incentives in those areas where we need the personnel. One area that is very clear is in healthcare. And therefore the proposal that all these ministers are working on now is for us to target healthcare training in a very aggressive manner so that we can improve the quality of our healthcare here in Trinidad and Tobago. And that is a challenge that we have.
It is expected that through the undertaking of major projects, the quality of medical care will be improved for all citizens.
Over 300 certificates of comfort were distributed to persons living on state lands, giving them a chance to finally have a place of their own. In addressing recipients, Housing and Environment Minister Dr. Rudal Munilal said it was the aim of this government to regularize persons living on state lands by changing their status from squatter to landowners.
What we are engaged in this morning is the ultimate form of empowerment of citizens. Let me repeat that. From this day, from this morning, you are no longer a squatter, but you are a citizen with rights, a citizen with land ownership rights. The award of the certificates is a foundation on which you may build to improve your standard of living and your quality of life. This is why we continue to improve the infrastructure in squatting communities by improving the quality of the roads, putting in drains, giving you water and electricity. No challenge is more urgent for us.
The minister called on persons receiving their letter of comfort to upkeep their communities to the level future generations could be proud of.
Please ensure that when you live together in a condition of harmony. You develop proper relations with your neighbors. You look out for your neighbors. You keep your home in a very tidy and hygienic way. You ensure that you don't allow your housing units and your community to become ghettos. Ensure that you take care of the units, that if it need a little painting, a little sprucing up, you do so. Please, take care of your units, take care of your communities. We are looking at other guidelines to ensure that persons don't go and in an ad hoc way expand house left, right, and center, paint in all kind of funny colors and so on. Make sure you create a community that when we take a picture of this community, you feel proud to say, I am living here. Feel proud.
The minister highlighted government's plans to distribute 10,000 lots over the next 3 years. He added that amendments to the State Land Act were on the way.
This administration has taken steps to amend the State Land Act and the Squatter Regularization Act so that the Commissioner of State Land and the LSA could have the lawful power to deal with new squatters who continue to break the law. Last month, our cabinet approved the amendments, and the Attorney General is at this time working on the changes to bring both bills to the Parliament. In dealing with those persons who break the rules and law, I believe that we must have policies and stiffer penalties that are tough enough to change behavior.
Over the past 2 years, more than 1,200 certificates of comfort have been distributed by the Land Settlement Agency, making home ownership dreams a reality for citizens.
San Fernando West MP Carolyn Sipasad Bechan is announcing that the full range of services which is usually offered by the ACTT's outreach office in Port of Spain will now be easily accessible by persons who would usually have had to travel long distances. She was speaking at the opening of the Accreditation Council of Trinidad and Tobago's South Outreach Office at Independence Avenue in San Fernando.
The opening of this South Outreach is in keeping with the government's objective to decentralize the services offered to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. It is important here to recognize that this South Outreach Office will be offering the full range of services offered by the main office in Port of Spain, and as Michael alluded to, These services including accreditation equivalence assessment, program approval, quality enhancement, and registration will be done right here in this office of San Fernando. This means that students from tertiary institutions and members of staff can, and in areas as far as the Carcass, I understand, Michael, am I correct, and Guayagari, will no longer have to travel all the way to Port of Spain for assistance and to access the evaluation services there.
Minister of Science, Technology and Tertiary Education, Senator Fazal Karim, was on hand to formally open the center. Minister Karim says the aim is to eliminate what he calls the phenomenon of the discouraged graduate, whom he described as a graduate unable to find employment after graduating from institutions of higher learning.
As Minister, I would like to reduce, if not eliminate, the issuance, the phenomena of the discouraged graduate. We have read about the discouraged worker. That is one who is constantly seeking employment, but finds it difficult to be employed. And I have coined, therefore, in like manner, the discouraged graduate, one who is seeking employment after graduation and is unable to find that.
The Tertiary Education Minister says measures must be implemented to encourage persons to pursue tertiary education in this country.
It is my view, ladies and gentlemen, that we must as well put policies in place to encourage this continuous education and transfers, but importantly to inspire our youth to further study rather than allow them to become frustrated and discouraged.
Minister Karim is also urging tertiary education institutions to work hand in hand with the Accreditation Council of Trinidad and Tobago to develop their programs and institutions.
This is Fulfilling the Promise, Change in Action. We shall return with more in a moment.
Informing and educating the nation, especially the young ones, about water, how it's won and processed, and how it should be protected are just a few of our major responsibilities here at the Public Education Center. The enjoyable learning environment, cultivating conservation habits, developing healthy relationships, and giving our public an appreciation of the environment in which we produce water. WASA's PEC, the region's only public education center on water.
Noise can have serious effects on babies, the elderly, at-risk patients, and pets. It can cause migraines, irritability, hearing loss, and sleep deprivation. Remember, music is our culture. Noise is not. To find out more, call the EMA or visit ema.co.tt.
A new community centre is opened in Caledonia, as well as the Accreditation Council in South Trinidad. But first, the Honourable Verna St. Rose Graves speaks to us on the water harvesting project.
Can benefit. And I am trusting
Minister of Gender, Youth and Child Development, Senator Verna St. Rose Graves, is urging persons to make the extra effort to conserve water. The minister says the practices of long ago should be remembered as the culture of water conservation was greater.
The water harvesting, if we read the document, comes with a question of consciousness of the environment. That is what the Green Fund is about. Consciousness of the environment. And the whole question of community and environmental literacy must play a critical part in the empowerment of people. If people understand themselves in the context of their community, and they understand the things in their community that give them strength, they would be so at one with their community that a lot of the problems will be taken away.
The water harvesting initiative comes on the heels of the National Youth Volunteerism launch, and Minister St. Rose Graves says collaboration between the two entities will be beneficial.
I am trusting and hoping that we can see some linkage between the Youth Volunteer Program, the National Youth Volunteer Program, and the whole question of water harvesting and community and environmental development and so on. I think it would make a good linkage, and we have to recognize too that, and I'm pleased to hear it said here, that government cannot do it alone. Government cannot do it alone. We need to have other stakeholders on board. We need to bring people to the table. We need to come together so that we can get the greatest impact that we need to get out of what we do.
The Toko Foundation has been granted some $17 million for a rainwater harvesting project. The foundation, which is now a member of the international organization Global Water Partnership, will receive a startup sum of $4 million in 2 weeks.
Caledonia residents now have something more to be proud of, a centre to call their own. The district, which is known for producing some of the country's top sportsmen, including the Pro Leagues football team Caledonia AIA, now has an added facility to assist them in developing these talents. This as residents in the area got the keys to their new community centre. On hand for the opening of the facility was Community Development Minister Nizam Baksh, who commended the residents for taking a proactive role in the development of the community.
The essence of community development is about communities like Second Caledonia working to improve their social, economic and environmental situation. While community development truly rests with the people within the community, my ministry is committed to help proactive communities achieve their goals and develop projects and programs that will help them become more resilient.
The new centre is expected to serve as a training facility for youth in the area, something Minister Baksh says will be a plus to the residents.
I know that this community centre is an excellent investment. My hope is that Second Caledonia will host programs here that meet the needs of this community. Create programs that will promote the even greater community involvement. These activities can be recreational, cultural, or educational in nature. The choice is yours. My only desire is that this centre is fully utilized. The Ministry of Community Development has invested $788,000 plus in the construction of this community centre.
Minister Baksh pledged his ministry's support to the community and urged residents to feel free to voice their concerns and needs.
Through the National Commission for Self-Help, we can assist by helping the less fortunate to do some repairs to their home and providing small grants in this regard. But we can go a little further, that if you want to embark on any projects and programs that could help people earn additional income, we are prepared to help you together with the National Commission for Self-Help and the Community Development Fund, which is under the Ministry of Community Development.
The centre is said to be one of the improvement projects taking place in the Caledonian community, as roadworks are also said to commence in the near future.
This is Fulfilling the Promise, the initiatives and actions of government in office from one ministry to another.
Noisemakers beware. Excessive noise is against the law. Did you know that apart from the noise pollution control rules, there are over 10 pieces of legislation under which noise can be addressed? Any officer of the police service can take action against noise pollution. Remember, music is our culture. Noise is not. To find out more, call the EMA or visit ema.co.tt.
You're shopping for a house to call your home, or you've already got one of your own. Know your mortgage guidelines. Tell me terms. Tell me rate. Fees and charges. Calculate. Will it change? And on what day? Hey, what's the current mortgage market reference rate?
You need to know so much about your home mortgage. Get the Residential Mortgage Market Guideline. It's your right to know about your mortgage so you can know your way home.
We continue with Fulfilling the Promise as we look at the civil society consultation in Sangre Grande, and the Honorable Minister Dr. Suraj Ratan Rambachan gives us a little insight into the ins and outs of foreign affairs.
Ensuring that civil society has a greater influence on the economic and socio-economic decision-making policies, as well as that government remains accountable to the people. It's what government sees necessary for the formulation of national policy, as it looks to the people before it goes to Parliament for the creation of laws that would enable better lifestyles for citizens. Speaking to the residents in Sangre Grande, Minister of State in the Office of the Prime Minister, Roger Samuel, said seeking the opinions of the people was key to the decision-making process.
And the reason for the Civil Society Board is to now ensure that the voice, and I didn't say voices, but the voice of civil society organizations in Trinidad and Tobago can be respected through the means of having their opinions and views articulated at the highest level.
The minister added that consultation with the people are necessary if changes in society are going to take place and affect generations ahead.
The days of ignoring people are over. The days for having participation and cohesiveness and cooperation are now. And that your voice, civil society, you are important to where we go as a nation and how we develop as a nation and the future of the nation and how future generations will benefit from what we all do together today. So we are not doing this just for ourselves today, but we are setting things in train and in motion to ensure that generations to come can benefit and they can grow up in a nation where all of our views are heard and all of our opinions as we articulate them are heard and to taken into consideration as we now frame and coin and craft national policy.
He noted that the voice of the people held the potential to create a domino effect of changes, not just locally, but globally.
It is time that the voice of civil society is heard clearly and that there are not many voices that contradict each other. What's the objectives? The objective, therefore, of the Civil Society Board would be to ensure representation of all civil society organizations on key issues of community, of national, of regional, of international implications. In other words, what is happening at the community level? What is happening at the national level? What is happening at the regional level and the international level? We want to ensure that there is representation of all civil society organizations on those issues.
Government has mandated that civil society meetings take place across the country as it keeps with its commitment to the citizens to serve the people. Plans to expand roadways towards the Point Lisas industrial estate into a bustling highway are said to be in the cards. Works Minister Jack Warner made the announcement during the opening of the Presal interchange. The minister says the move is necessary with the latest extension of the byways to enter the Couva district.
We are now doing a feasibility study to make the Riverlet Road into a 4-lane highway.
MP for the Couva South area, Minister in the Ministry of Local Government, Rudranath Indar Singh, said the expansion and opening of the roadways in the district was a welcomed one, as it stood to benefit all residents in the area.
The traffic woes has ended. It is a dream come true, and it is an indication that the government of Trinidad and Tobago, headed by the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa, has a true sense of feel and understanding for the pain, trauma, and suffering that ordinary citizens undergo on a day-to-day basis.
Minister Warner added that the expansion of the Rivulet Road is said to be one of several projects carded for the Couva Point Lisas district, as the nearby Indian Trail overpass will be upgraded by December.
Diplomatic missions, honorary consuls, TNT missions abroad. Have you ever really thought about, though, what goes into the operation of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Communications? While as complex as it may seem, it really is very simple.
We have been doing a lot of things in order to bring the Ministry of Foreign Affairs closer to the people. For example, we have Foreign Affairs in Media Excellence program on at the moment, and you're going to find that media personnel are going to be submitting their pieces for evaluation very soon. And we did that in particular because we thought that we can excite the media fraternity in order to write more about Trinidad and Tobago in terms of foreign affairs. We've also had several art competitions with schools, secondary schools. And, you'll see pieces of art around this building. You'll also see pieces of art in the embassies. These are pieces done by students. And what is happening is through that, we are encouraging the students in the schools to learn more about the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and also to begin to get an interest in terms of a career in foreign affairs. We have also had 2 essay competitions so far with respect to foreign affairs, and one was very interesting in which students were asked to write a speech that the Prime Minister, she had to deliver at Chogam 2011 in Australia. And we had got some excellent work out of the students. So we used topics that are of international relations value or foreign affairs value, and the students research them and make their submissions. I think it's about 2,500 word essays. So these are some out-of-the-box things we are doing in order to bring foreign affairs closer to the community. We have also, in my view, in terms of what we have done and how we have reached out to the community, heightened what foreign affairs is all about and the importance of foreign affairs to the general economic development of the country, so that people now know about the chair in office of the Commonwealth and the Prime Minister being the chair in office of the Commonwealth. And people know that when you're at chair in office, you are speaking on behalf of 2 billion people across the world in 54 countries. People are now much more aware that the Prime Minister has been championing the issue of women and girls and their participation in decision making. They know, for example, that the Prime Minister took that to the margins of the UNGA, the United Nations General Assembly, in 2011, where a declaration on political participation, the participation of women and girls in decision making was signed. In several ways we have been able to lift the profile of Trinidad and Tobago. Our foreign policy is very simple. Our foreign policy is geared towards the national interest and to work in the national interest. And that national interest means the interest of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, the sustainable development of this country, and secondly, our foreign policy is aimed at creating the best neighborly relations with people and fostering international peace.
This has been Fulfilling the Promise, Change in Action. The achievements of the government chosen by you, working for you.